Hi guys, welcome back to some more Trotec training by your very unofficial Trotec trainer. Um, I just want to say a quick thing up front just to make sure it's clear to everybody. The things that I'm showing you are just ways that we've determined that work for us. So with computers and especially with software like this and lasers as well, there's 10 different ways to accomplish the same thing. So you may have a different way. You may find a way that works better for you. Um, and the ways that we've found that work for us might not be the best way right now. We learn something new with these machines all the time. So the things that we're doing today and we're showing you today, we may not be doing, 2 months from now. So just keep that in mind when you're watching this, and if you see something that helps you out, then great. If you have other ideas, you do something different and you think it's more efficient, then shoot me a message and let me know, and we'll take a look at that and see if you guys can help us learn some things too. So the last time that we spoke, we were talking about the plate size and the job size, page size, and Corel. So I wanted to explain it because it's a little bit confusing, so I didn't really put it in context on why some of this stuff does it. I just pretty much said, you kind of need to do it like this because it's really important. But there's kind of a unique feature in the Trotec, I believe, that I haven't seen in any of the other lasers, and it's a really powerful thing, but I don't think very many people are using it. From my travels and talking to people about the laser and how they use it and how they're setting things up. So I just wanted to go over a couple things here real quick. Try not to make this as long as the last video. But on the screen here we've got a small piece, just a weird shape here that we would maybe have to, typical job that we would have, and the customer may want to, they may want to order a whole bunch of them. So typically what we see, a customer may order, 50 of these things, or they may order 40 of them, or they may order 90 of them, and it's always something different. So if you set them all up, it's different every time you open the job, because you just don't know how many you're going to get. So, I mean, kind of what people tend to do is, they'll put another one on there, and they'll just keep filling the sheet up all the way across. My duplicate button's not working right now for some reason, so let me just see if I can do something here and simulate it. So you typically, would put parts down the sheet, something like that, and then you'd go ahead and send the job over. And right now we have a 24 by 17 page, so I don't know, you would probably not choose your Epson printer. You would get a couple choices here. You could do 24 by 17 and send it over, and everything would be good. Or you could say minimize the job, and that would work just the same. So you could do that, but the problem is, the next time they order these, if they don't order whatever that is, 22 of them, then we have to do this again. And that's where the Trotec really shines with some of its features, because here's what we can do. Right now, it's like a 1.6 by about 2 on the size. So if we make this page a little bit bigger, so we'll make it 1.7 by 2.1. And then we just center that. Sorry, my zoom's not doing real well tonight either. So we've given ourselves a little bit of a border here, and you'll see why here in a minute. So if we just make this one piece, and we go ahead and send that job over, again, it would help if we didn't send it to the Epson printer. So if we make that page size 1.7 by 2.1, and then we send that over, and just give it a quick name. When that job comes over here, you can drag it out onto the plate, or if it's over here and you double click it, it'll go to the top left corner. Or you can right click on it and you can say position job multiple. So it's going to ask you how many of those do you need to make. So you say I don't want to make 50 of those, and now it's going to put 50 of them on the table. And the reason, actually I've got the green turned off on this material, so we'll turn that on real quick. And the reason that we spaced everything apart just a little and put a little border was so that these edges don't touch. If you made your page size in Corel and your job size when you send it over the exact size of your part, then these edges right here, and right here would actually touch, and you don't want that. So you put a little bit of a buffer in there, whatever you want it to be, and then it'll do that. So each one of these is independent. It's its own thing. So if you wanted to delete some of them, you can. If you wanted to add some more of them, you could do that as well. So that's a pretty cool thing. You can drag them all. If you wanted to drag them back over into the job queue, you can, and it'll tell you the part number or the piece number for that. So you can grab the whole pile of them and you can move them around anywhere you want them. So it's a really, really useful feature, and we use that a lot. We found it to be a pretty powerful tool in the Trotec's arsenal, and we like it. Hopefully you can use it or find a use for it, and it'll serve you well. And just another quick note here is, you can also, not only can you duplicate it, but you can also rotate the jobs as well. So if you need to get things so they fit, or there's a space on there, then you can do that too. So that's one way that you can use that. And you may not be real clear on why you would want to do that, but this is an example of a job that we would get, and it's a company that makes their own machines. So they have these machinery labels, and every one of them is different, and they may order 5 of these plates, and they may order 10 of this plate, and they may order 4 of another plate, and they give you a purchase order for a whole bunch of them at a time, but it's never very many of each one. So again, it puts you in the situation where we had made a fixture here, and every time, so if they ordered 4 machinery label number 1s, then we would drag and drop that into the right place. It doesn't work real well on the setup I have right now, but normally take my word for that, we'll call it, say that it's there. So normally we would do something along these lines. So we would manually go in there and kind of lay it out and get it straight, and then if they wanted 2 of the number 2s, then we'd come down here and we'd put 2 of the number 2s in there, and we would do that for every single file that came through, because you just never knew what the order was going to be. And it works, everything's okay. It's it's just a little bit cumbersome on dealing with that. Well, if you're going to use the philosophy that I just showed you about sending individual jobs over, then this is the way that we do it now. So we made a fixture that looks similar to this, and we've got all the dimensions for where everything is. And then each label has its own file, and if you wanted to, then you could put all these in one file and just do a new page number for each one and label the page number, and go like that. So we're going to send this job over, and we're going to tell it that in this case we're going to tell it it's exactly the size of the job, because these are plates that we cut in here shear, so they're made out of aluminum arc, so we're not actually having to cut them to size. So we're going to send that over. And we'll call it label 1. And we'll just continue to do this. It's like watching paint dry. We'll leave it there just for ease of use. So we've got 3 jobs over there. So what you can do, this is actually a plate, a blank plate here, and you can create your own plate. So we've saved this plate, we've made a plate, and we've put the lines in where all the openings are on the fixture. So now over here we have individual jobs. So if they want 4 label 1s, then we could tell it that we need 4 label 1s, and then we can snap them to the fixture. If I wouldn't have just moved the line there. We'll go ahead and do another one of those, just because we got 5 spaces here. And then if they wanted a couple label 2s, then you could tell it that you need 3 of those. And then if you need a couple label 3s, then you could tell it that you needed 2 of those. So it lets you kind of set all that up on the fly, and then when you're finished with them, you can drag the number 3 over, then you can drag the number 2 over, and the number 1 over. And we'll actually, let me swap this out. And you can delete all the rest of them, and you can close this plate out, do whatever you want to do. Doesn't really matter. You can delete them all at once if you want. So you can keep these over here. In this case, I didn't keep the original, which I really should have. But so you can keep the jobs for these labels over in your job queue all the time, and then you just open that plate and drag and drop them in, and you can use you never have to go back into Corel and keep coming up with all these different files for different combinations depending on what the PO was. So that's a pretty helpful thing to have, and it lets you combine a lot of the same jobs that are made with the same material on one plate. And I think after a while of doing it, you'll start to see the benefit of that. And so that's kind of where we are, and that's what I wanted to show you, was really just the reasoning behind what they're doing. And the reason that they do that is because they want to be able, on every other laser that's I've seen out there, you kind of like send one job over, and that's all you can do. And even if you have jobs that have the same material, you would have to open all those files and cut and paste them all on a new file in order to send them over to Corel. So what the Trotec does is it kind of treats each part individually, but it lets you be able to combine jobs that have similar materials all on the same piece of material. So in this case, if it was a piece of 1/8 inch acrylic, you could have all the jobs in the job queue that were using 1/8 inch acrylic, and then you could put all the jobs on this one particular plate and save yourself a whole lot of time and a whole lot of effort over in Corel Draw, and not having to deal with all that. So I hope that makes some sense, and I hope it starts to shed a little bit of light, maybe get you thinking about how you send the job over. And the plate size here doesn't matter, but you go back to the original Corel files, and you can see here that I don't have 24 by 17 or 28.72 by 17.070. You can actually make this size, the actual size of your job. If that's the way you're comfortable and that's the way you want to do it, you can certainly do it. I know the epilogues really like that. They really tend to put the page size of the actual job, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can certainly do it here, and I would actually suggest that you do it like that. The universals are a little bit more in depth to change every single page size like that. They tend to like for you to have stuff more like sending jobs over more like that. The universal tends to prefer that. So I think all the machines are a little bit different, and if you just understand how they're different and which one applies to you and how you can benefit from using different types or different setups, then figure out what works for you and go from there. So hope that helps. Any questions, leave me a comment, or post something on a forum, and I'll see if I can explain it, or if I missed something, then let me know and I'll try to get it fixed. So we appreciate you watching, and good luck.